Okay, our next storyteller, we don't know anything about him. He showed up tonight. We liked the way he looked. We just thought he seems like a fashionable guy. We had a sense that he might have a story, and guess what? He said, yeah, okay. So we love a game person who's just kind of up for anything. And this man. His name is John James. He's an interior designer. There you go. JohnJamesDesigns.com. John James.
I think this might work. Yeah. Okay. A caveat. I have absolutely no real professional experience with the fashion world, except for two particular experiences that I think will work for you. One of them is when I was on a steady diet of Jack Daniels and 25 to 50 Marlboro Lights a day, I would wear these skin-tight pants, like very Tim Burton Nightmare Before Christmas, just skin-tight, and I thought that was it. It was early 90s in San Francisco. And that's really all I can say about it. Just a tall redhead, huge hair, skinny. The other one was when I was working as a florist for Stanley Gaddy. A lot of you must know him, a brilliant designer here in town. And I was fired for a bad attitude, which was shocking to me when I showed up and thought that my work was better than his. I was 23, and he didn't understand that my contribution to his business was a lot more important than he was letting me on. So he proceeded to let me go, and I spent the afternoons hanging out with Jessica and Erica. If you remember, by the Caltrain station, it was a parking lot where there were all sorts of trailers. This is way back when. So Jackie was studying to be a cop, and Erica was a stripper. And so she would work the guys for cash, and she had all sorts of special tricks, as well as one of them was a little bit too graphic to get into, but she was pretty famous at the Crazy Horse on Market. Yeah, they wouldn't take her at Mitchell Brothers. We're at the Gold Club, which enters into my story in a minute. So, rewind, I'm fired from Stanley Gaddy, I've got my skinny pants on, I'm tanked on Jack Daniels and marijuana, and I collect unemployment for the first time in my life, and I'm thinking, wow, what is it, $240, $220 a week or something? So that was adding up. So I thought rent, click, weed and Jack Daniels, click, the rest will just fall into place. So I hang out with Erica and Jackie and smoking marijuana, doing our thing, and all of a sudden the trailer door comes flying open, and out comes this really scorchy looking girl. Now, for those of you that know about kind of street drugs and stuff, crystal meth, unfortunately, is doing some really terrible things to a lot of different communities in town across the country. Well, it started, I think, in the 90s. Some people say it happened in the 80s, even the 70s. But my first experience with crystal meth was Shane, another stripper, recovering from a drug binge, having hit her boyfriend, being kicked out of his house, to come recover with her, their 2 cats, their 2 dogs, and a rabbit, and me on the fold-out chair, smoking marijuana, contemplating my next high-fashion move. So we're talking, and I'm fancy, a little bit of mascara here, a little bit of mascara here, not on the bottom, just here on the side, because it works. So guys, it works. Just here and here. And I know some of you have done it before, maybe even you. So I'm fancy, and I'm ready to plot my next move. The ball comes my way, blah, 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 doing my thing. So she flies open the door of the trailer. What the fuck are you doing? I can hear your big fucking mouth. I mean, just scorchy hair, nails, stripper gone bad, that like walk of shame times 16 and a half walk of shame. So I look at her, I'm not easily intimidated. I look at her like, wow, this girl's a lot. And I just kind of, girl food. Something really queeny and kind of like, I don't know, just abrupt. And so she said, oh my God, I really like your attitude. You should come be on my makeup artist at the Gold Club. And I thought, that sounds great, sure. So I show up to the Gold Club. You must know it's right there on Howard, is it? In 2nd Street. So I walk in there, and I just talk to a girlfriend of mine who was cosmetics for years, and I said, I've got a great job. I'm going to be the makeup artist at the strip club. And she said, Queen, how do you know how to do put mascara on your eyelashes? She's like, well, you can teach me. So she sits down, and she's like, well, if you're going to be doing it for the strippers, you need to know how to do liquid liner. So I'm like, okay, liquid liner. So I pull it out with that teeny little brush, and I'm imagining 60s Tom Ford aesthetic. So she sits down, and I start painting her eye. I mean, it was like shakes from the liquor, and she was like, what, you're going tomorrow. There's no way you're going to survive. So she says just quantity. So she fills up a toolbox, which is tons of this. She's probably ripped it off from Nordstrom where she works. If anyone works at Nordstrom, sorry, I'm not going to give you her last name. So she filled up my bag, and I proceeded to go into the Gold Club. And I would do hair and makeup. And the first night, this girl sat down. She's like, oh my God, you're so really cute. That's really great. What are you going to do to my face? I'm like, oh, we'll do some smoky eye, this, that, and the other. I completely fucked up her face. And she's like, oh my God, I have to pay, because strippers there's always the one shift they have to do for something. Like, I've just got to make money tonight for XYZ, car payment, insurance, or rent, or what have you, or a hotel, because there were a variety of stories. So anyway, I became the hair and makeup guy at the Gold Club, which was so fabulous for me because these girls are really cute. A lot of the big story about strippers is 25 to 30% of them are lesbians. So to work that stripper thing and to get the booty action, you kind of got to be gay, because if you're not, then there's a daddy complex that comes in. And some of those girls actually went the way of, I want this to be a positive story, because it ended up being... Well, okay, I'll tell you one negative story. Some girl came in, she had this huge shiner on her eye. It was so heartbreaking. She's like, oh my God, John, you gotta cover this up. And so, I learned really fast, and consequently right now I can do makeup and hair like you can't believe. I mean, I can give you the hot roller smoky thing like it's nobody's business. But anyway, then I started my own business, which is happening now. And so that stripper money, where I would go downstairs and do the girls' hair, and then they'd say, this one girl, Jamila, would say, John, can I dance for you? I think you're really great. And I'd say, sure. So I would hear Comfort Zone by Vanessa Williams. I don't know if you know that song. Welcome to the comfort zone. I was kind of expecting a stronger response. But anyway. So she would strip for me. So and the thing about the Gold Club, it's the only club left in town where they serve liquor, so the girls can't be fully naked. So they come up and they dance in this BS lingerie, and then they take off their tops, hey, and then they go and schmooze everybody for cash. So it's really highfalutin. So I would go upstairs, and they would dance for me, and then there'd be a sea of these men, in various states of excitement, looking back at me being danced for solely at that club. So, to me, it was like high fashion gone awry, to be in my skinny pants, drunk on Jack Daniels, and some of those strippers would give you the best weed you could possibly imagine, like crystals and stanky and the whole thing. So my only real experience with fashion, I was telling my friend Matthew, was when Linda Evangelista returned to the cover of Vanity Fair in the early 90s when she had her hand like this. Does anyone remember that? And I screamed out loud when I saw it. I was like, she's back! It was such a glorious thing, and doing hair and makeup for the girls at the Gold Club. So, thank you for an opportunity to share that story.